So, Emma, what are we discussing today?
Today we are discussing the struggles or the effort to make friends as parents.
This episode is called Fitting in Playdates. Welcome back to the Treehouse Hideout. Escape from the world for a while and unwind with our little podcraft, the fun, honest and non-judgmental conversation starter for parents, made by parents. That's us. We're husband and wife. We live in North Yorkshire. We have a 3-year-old daughter called Lily and another one due very soon.
Very soon. It's getting scary.
I'm Elliot. I'm half your co-host. Am I a quarter coast?
It's like you've been cut in half and I've been cut in half and the so it's together.
Just a full co-host, not a quarter co-host.
No, you're just a co-host.
Yep, there we go. What was I saying? Something about us. I'm Elliot. I went to university in Aberystwyth and studied countryside management.
I'm Emma and I also went to Aberystwyth University and I studied Romance languages, which meant I did French, Spanish and Italian.
I've not heard you describe it like that before. Romance languages. That sounds
that
quite
was its
quite
technical
fun.
name.
Wow.
Yeah. Because people used to always tease me like, romance
all
languages.
About the romance. Well, there you go. If you didn't know that about us, you still do stuff to do with your languages.
Yes, my job is to do with my
I do nothing
degree.
to do with my university degree anymore. But there you go. Let's chat about some parenting. Welcome to the segment of the show, Parenting Achievement Time.
Parenting Achievement Time.
It's like a little 90s jingle on a TV show. So this is the bit where we like to share a funny story or a parenting fail. I'm not prepared. What are we going to talk about? I don't know.
There's so many at the minute I could think of as well.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of meltdowns recently.
A lot of
tantrums. A lot of I don't think we've talked about this before, but we've got to that phase where Lily's very good at talking, but there's often times when, not that you can't understand what she's saying, but just, I don't know what she's on about. She's like almost talking nonsense and she's having a meltdown about it. And you're like, what do you want? What? Your words do not make sense. I don't know what you want.
Calm down. And then she calms down and then you go, so what's the problem? And then she gets up again and goes, and you're like, no, because now I can't understand you again. Can we calm back down again and try and talk about what the problem is? Yeah.
And it can be just irrational, can't it?
Yeah.
It can just be...
I'm pretty sure today's was that... So, such a backstory to this. Basically, every year my family have a big Christmas party at a village hall.
If you're long-time listeners, you'll know about this.
And this year, Disney's going to be the theme.
Yeah.
So she's been very excited and she started assigning characters to different family members.
She loves looking at dresses for her and Sophie to be like, we're going to be Anna and Elsa and these are the dresses we're going to wear.
Dresses we're going to wear. And then she holds it on my phone and Elliot's phone and just keeps them up to look at them.
Yeah.
As she's living her life, going about doing other things.
This could just be a story in itself. It's just sometimes toddlers are so bizarre. She's just walking around the house holding both of our phones, looking at 2 different dresses. Yeah. Doesn't want to do anything with them. Just wants to hold them and know they're there so she can look down and go, yes, these are the dresses.
These are the dresses we want. But anyway, this morning we were watching, as we do, watching Frozen this morning.
What do you know? It was Frozen.
Yeah. And she got very upset. And I think it's because she was trying to tell me that baby Sophie wasn't in the TV as Anna.
Yeah.
But I couldn't quite work out. And I kept saying, oh yes, and she'll wear a dress. And she's going, no. Baby Sophie, TV Anna. And I was like, I don't know what the problem is.
We've got kind of just this concept, baby Sophie, TV Anna. And from that, we have to extrapolate what on earth you're getting upset about.
Yeah. And I kept being like, yes, she will be Anna. No, that wasn't the correct answer.
No, that's the dress baby Sophie's going to wear. No, that wasn't what it's about.
I'm still unsure.
Yeah, I still really don't know what it was about.
I think it may be the ridiculous thing that she almost wanted to see baby Sophie in the TV and Anna. I'm not sure. Or maybe she wanted baby Sophie to come and watch the TV.
Oh,
but
who
I
knows?
mean, they live miles away. I don't know how she'd have thought that would happen.
And I suppose we've been having recently just these little stories, these little scenarios just happening constantly, just day after day, week after week, and it just wears you down.
It
and
does.
Just all these little things that are just, something's upset her. She's just not quite happy about. You just don't. Yeah, and just it feels like you're failing at life sometimes. Just
so Elliot does get a lot more frustrated than I do.
Well, it's because it often happens like first thing on a morning or last thing at night, and it's those moments when I'm most tired or just like struggling to get by myself. And that's when she's like also having a tantrum
because she's like, also tired, and she's like,
there we are. It's just life.
I don't know if that's an achievement. It's just a story.
Does this sound relatable? Do you have similar scenario? Do you have similar things going on this week, or you've experienced? Is your time as a parent? Let us know. Get in touch. We'd love to hear you. We'd love to hear you.
We'd love to hear you.
And stay tuned till the end of the episode when we'll share some parenting stories and comments or things sent in by listeners. Pack up the nursery bag and strap your kid in the car, and let's have a little conflab about making friends. Making friends. I feel like you're going to have to drive this conversation, Emma, because I can honestly say I've been pretty unsuccessful since I don't know, leaving university, when I've had to adult. Get look after my own life. I don't think outside work I've not really made any friends.
But I thought we could discuss that.
Yeah.
In that I feel like there are certain struggles you face that I maybe don't face.
It's quite hard. Like
it is. Yeah, we'll start with the struggles. I think so. Something I'm like aware of is I've got a few friends, but I constantly feel guilty because you've got to rearrange things all the time. Because the problem is you end up being friends with other parents. Because that's who you interact with. Your kid goes to things, you make friends with other parents whose kids go to those things too.
Yeah, if you're a woman, sure.
Yeah.
If you're me, you stand around awkwardly and don't talk to anyone.
That's true. Okay, if you're me, you chat to these people, you make friends, you make connections.
Yeah.
And then I constantly have things. Would you like a play date this day? Would you like a play date that day?
Yeah.
And for various reasons, our kid's ill, their kids are ill.
Yeah.
Something comes up. So at one point, I'm not kidding, it was 6 months before one of these play dates happened.
Yeah.
And you're still good friends with them. You just kind of feel like you're letting people down all the time.
So there's two things here, isn't there? Like the big challenge really is this kind of time. It's like trying to find time. Even once you found someone, you're like, well, let's try and be friends.
Yeah. Let's meet up.
Trying to meet up. It's so difficult,
It is difficult
to then get to know people because it's like none of us have any time.
No.
Like, what? I mean, we barely have time to live, let alone and it feels like sometimes this is like an extra, like almost put in the category of hobbies.
Yeah.
Whereas really, I feel like it should be essential to life, having friends. But trying to find space for it in our schedules.
Yeah. But it is good with other parents because they also are very understanding.
Yeah.
So they both often know that like when we're making plans, we're like, I can't do now, but I can do 3 months' time this day. And we all put it in your diaries, which is good because I feel like people without children often don't understand why you have to make plans so far in advance.
This is the thing, isn't it? And it's interesting. It's interesting that you've jumped into this conversation and immediately gone for the assumption that we're going to be making friends with other parents.
Well, I think this is a struggle because you don't meet people who don't have kids.
I know, yeah. You don't generally bump into them as much. And also, like, not to be mean, I'm sorry, people out there, but like if you're listening, if you've known us in the past, but we've kind of shed a lot of our old friends who don't have kids because it's quite difficult to keep up and to relate and to
and they have to be very forgiving of you. Like they have to be people. So like
people who can be flexible and work around us, which is quite all the time to be working around us is
and all the time to be like. Of people who go, well, I can't meet up with you this weekend. I can meet up with you. Because I think that I know people who don't have kids, they still are busy, but they have more time in general. They don't have clubs they take kids to. They don't have a lot of,
Yeah, we're making a lot of, what's the word?
Assumptions.
Stereotypes, maybe? I don't know. But I think, I'm trying to think of people we know, but generally they they have the ability to be a bit more spontaneous. And so when we're like, well, do you want to put a date in the diary for 6 months' time?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
But I would say, because we've got my best friend who, Rachel, she's Lily's godmother, and they don't have children. But they're very good because A, they're very good with children.
Yeah.
And B, they're very good with us in that they're very flexible and know we have to make dates ridiculously far along.
I would say in those circumstances, they are friends we've kept on from like university days and things like that.
I would say we haven't made any
so they're not,
new friends.
Not falling into the category of new friends we've made.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And therefore we have a kind of commitment to each other that we're able to support each other through life. But it is tricky because often, I feel a bit guilty. We often ask them to come to us.
And we often go, oh, by the way, we're going to be eating at 11:30.
Yeah.
Hope that's okay.
We might not be able to survive the whole day because Lily might get tired.
We might suddenly have to go home.
So it's basically like 2 hours in the day and you're going to have to come a long way to see us. And it's tricky.
Yeah. So they're very good. But I feel like this is one of the reasons we don't make many... Well, I think I just don't encounter them. Like, unless I were to encounter some people through work... which I work remotely, so it doesn't happen really.
Well, I do too, and even my colleagues, I think this is maybe quite common with millennials, but I don't have that many people that work with me that are of a similar age and stage or, thing in life. There's some people through my work we've met and, have kids, and we're good friends with a lot of people, and there's other, there's quite a range of people at my work that we get on well with, but...
Well, even in my work, the only other person... So, look, my boss has started later in life and now has, like, a baby.
Yeah.
And she's planning on having another one, which gives us more connection. And there's one other woman who has 2 children, but they're obviously, like, I think 10 and 8, like, quite a bit older.
Yeah.
But we only meet up, like, once a year.
Yeah.
So it's not like even though you message, it's not that same connection all the time. And everybody else at my work are... like single men in their like 40s, 50s. So
well, you do work in the video game industry, so it's not particularly surprising that there aren't
there's like
loads of women.
3 women who do have children, and the rest of them don't.
Yeah.
So it does narrow down like how much in common you have with other people.
Yeah, we do a lot of our stuff online, and actually a lot of our friendships are based online.
Yeah,
true. As you were saying, you chat and message with other mums, but it's ages normally till you can get a play date. And I mean, basically, nearly everyone who listens to this podcast are people that we have connections with in one way or another, and we often try and meet up with you guys out there.
And probably every time I see you, I go, "Hey, we'll have a play date at some point."
Yeah.
and then I never do anything about it.
I'm just thinking through some of our regular listeners and thinking nearly all of them basically. We've gone like, it's been ages since we've met up. We should really organise another play date.
An apology podcast.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I've never meet up with people. I currently have a good excuse.
Yeah.
I'm pretty heavily pregnant.
Yeah.
And I just don't have the energy.
Yeah.
To do anything. Let's face it.
Yeah. And then we'll have a new baby. It'll be hard again to do that. So friend making is on pause
because the main friend maker is in there.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm still available.
You're still available.
I didn't really think about that.
I was going to discuss in this though Elliot's age.
Oh, okay.
Because so the area that we live in at the minute, most people start a bit later, and I know this is a growing trend amongst most Western countries.
Yeah. Having your first child when you're slightly older.
Yeah, so most people around here seem to have their first child when they're like 32, 33.
Yeah.
Some a bit older.
Yeah.
Because I'm 31 having our second one, and I'm still considered quite young.
Yeah, it's weird that there's a little kind of pocket and ecosystem around Harrogate where the typical average age of first-time motherhood is slightly older. Which is fascinating.
I do wonder because it's a more affluent area, maybe to afford having children, you have to.
Quite possible, But even in general, across the UK and across the West, it
is getting older.
The average age is shifting up. Let's think. So we got married when I was 25.
Yeah.
And therefore we had Lily when I was 26.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Maths.
No. So because my birthday's early in the year, I would have been 29 when I had Lily.
Because it would have ticked across.
Your birthday was after Lily was born.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But it meant people were only like 3-4 years older than me. Whereas with Elliot,
a lot of the dads around here are like 10 years older than me.
But also,
I tried to explain this a little. I in a previous episode, a few episodes ago, I put in a thing at the beginning where we said about age. But because it was a bit rambly, I had to cut a bit of it out. And therefore, it kind of just came across that I was like showing off how young I was. And that wasn't my intention at all.
Like, oh, I was really old.
My intention was trying to describe this exact thing where I was
but
like,
I think
I feel a bit disconnected.
Sometimes impede you from making as many friendships because you feel like we're at similar stages in that we have kids, but he's just grown up in a different kind of environment almost.
The youngest millennial that you can be.
Yes,
and a lot of dads are almost at the very other end of the millennial spectrum and are kind of early 40s now.
Yes, yeah.
And so the age gap means, my childhood and everything is just, 10 years different is quite a big gap.
And it's not that stops you making friends, but I think sometimes it's hard for you to like find common interests.
I also get a bit intimidated, to be honest, because a lot of these dads, if they're in their 40s, they progress more with work. They've established themselves. I feel a bit embarrassed sometimes that like we're still renting and that we haven't bought a house, because naturally these people have had time to kind of get. We're not in the same phase. We're not. I shouldn't feel bad because I haven't got there yet. But to me, I compare. It's kind of natural. We have kids the same age.
Whereas I think, I don't know if I just don't feel like that, or if women, we just don't, you don't see yourselves in such terms necessarily.
Maybe.
Also, I'm just very friendly, so nothing puts me off, really.
True. I also get a bit self-conscious, so I'm always a little self-conscious that I look a lot younger than the other dads.
That's
and
true.
I feel a bit kind of thinged about that. I find funny because I'd be interesting to know. I suspect that actually on the flip side of this coin, a lot of those dads are looking at me thinking how good it is that I'm young, like that they're
run around with your
wanting
kid.
to be younger. Maybe, I don't know. Whereas I'm looking at them going like, I feel bad, I'm so young.
yeah. But I think that often like puts you in a position where you're not as like comfortable making friends.
Maybe it's a good excuse. It's a good excuse. I would say I'm a pretty shy and quiet person anyway.
Yes,
I'm not sure if the age thing is really that much of a hindrance, because I'm just a typical man that's not great at conversation.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll stand around and be a bit awkward.
Yeah. That sums up Elliot quite well.
Yeah.
He'll stand around and be awkward.
Just a little awkward guy over here.
But you're good if people talk to you, you'll talk to them.
Yeah. I'm not like... it's a difficult one. I'm not shy. Like, I'm just an introvert. So I'm quite happy talking. Like, I'm happy talking on the podcast. I'm happy... I do all sorts of stuff where I have to talk and do public speaking. And, that's not a big problem. But I'm not great at initiating conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't seek it out. I'm quite happy with my own company.
Yeah. Whereas I definitely, although I call myself an ambivert, which is a bit of both, in that I don't like talking to a lot of people, but I really do like talking to people one-on-one.
And you're good at talking, like you're good at chit chat with.
I'm good at chit chat. I'm good at asking questions.
Yeah. And you're very friendly, and you kind of draw a lot of mums to you.
I think because a lot of people, especially if you go to like a new club or something, it's quite intimidating, and I'm happy talk to anybody. Like I have no qualms about just being like, hey, how are you doing? How old's your little one? And you soon find a lot of similar ground you can talk on. Yeah. So I would say it's not going, I'm wonderful at making friends, but I don't struggle. I struggle to keep up with friendships. I'm quite good when I see people. Yeah. And chatting away to them. And,
it doesn't bother you too much, like if we're out in the park and there's another mum there and you'll just naturally start chatting away to them.
Yeah, so if both our kids on the swings, I'm like, oh, yeah, we'll start chatting. Yeah.
And then I think you're quite good as well at then almost following that up as well and being like, where are you? What's your name? Like, shall we exchange details? Yeah. Shall we make a play date?
Normally I do Facebook. Yeah. Because I find most millennials still have Facebook. Yeah. And I find it's a way that it's not like too personal of, can I have your number? Yeah. It's like, should we add each other on Facebook and at some point we'll make a play date? Which now means I have a lot of friends on Facebook where I've never got around to making a play date. But we still like each other's posts, and so I've put nice little comments. But we haven't ever made it to that other step of having a play date. Yeah.
Welcome, dear listener, to the ad break. As you probably know, if you've been listening a long time, we're able to do this podcast through the support of the Methodist Church and the Kairos movement, which Emma and I are a part of. I do lots of stuff with the Kairos movement at the moment, and if you're interested in kind of exploring an open-minded faith and spirituality with me and Emma, then maybe there's something within Kairos that might be suitable. There's lots of online groups and different things. Particularly, I'm active over on my personal Instagram account, sharing stuff about my faith and rather radical thoughts about all that stuff. And there's kind of groups and things to discuss different, things like that. I'm doing a weekly Disney Church video that discusses faith and spirituality in Disney films. There's all sorts of fun and creative things like that happening within the Kairos movement. It's a network of different projects, people like me and Emma doing all sorts of things across Yorkshire and beyond. And if that's a space, a Christian faith community that you'd be interested in, maybe take a look. But no worries if not a problem. You don't need to be Christian or believe in God or anything to enjoy our podcast here. We're just chatting about parenthood and doing this thing so you get to know us. And, it's a long form, more in-depth way of having a conversation with us. And on that note, we'd love to hear from you. So if you could feed back into the conversation, that would be amazing. We, get in touch with us in whatever way you like. All the stuff's in the description down below. We're rather proud of our little show and that we're still going with it. And I hope you're enjoying it as well. If you are, please do share it with a friend or with people who you think might be interested. It'd be great if the show could grow and have more listeners, and we could do more of it. It will enable us to do it better and to do more stuff. Just do more, and that's what we want. Lots and lots and lots. And good. If you have feedback, you think it's rubbish, and you'd want to tell us how we could do it better, we'd also like to hear that as well. We want to improve. This thing will probably change over time. But I'm rambling now. I'm rambling. That's it. That has been the ad break. Back to the main content. Here we go. I wonder what you think about this. One of the things that I think often enables mums to make friends is kind of maternity leave, because they have that time to go out with their baby and go to mums and tots groups.
Clubs, yeah.
And oftentimes, I think the main aim of a lot of that is actually for the mums not to feel isolated and to get friends.
Because I think it can be very isolating when you are on maternity leave and you're kind of at home with your baby all day.
Yeah.
It's a real release to go to a club.
Well, I think there's two things there. One, both of which we've mentioned before, but one is that you didn't have a long maternity leave.
No.
And so we're back to work quite quickly. And we didn't have the flexibility to go to a lot of these groups. And the other one being that obviously everyone hopefully knows that you're an identical quadruplet and you have a big family and you're very close with your family.
Yeah.
And so you don't have, when you're at home on maternity, Becky's at home on maternity right now.
Yeah.
But you all talk to each other every day, constantly in contact. And so I don't think you're quite as lonely and isolated as a lot of mums can be.
No, I think that's true.
You have a lot of support.
Yeah.
So your problem is you have a lot of acquaintances and people.
Yeah.
But it's how to turn them into proper friendships.
And I always feel like I'm doing them a disservice. Because I feel like I haven't made time in my life for them.
But they'll be feeling that as well, so there's no reason to feel guilty.
I think this is once again my point about why I like making friends with other parents.
Yeah, we understand each other.
We all understand we have no time.
Yeah.
Lily's got a little best friend. I won't say her name on this podcast, but we go to ballet together.
Yeah.
So it's nice me and the other mum get to chit-chat away while we're in ballet.
Yeah.
So we've got to know each other quite well, but we still don't have any play dates. So we're so busy.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I'm like, I really should make more of an effort with that. But it just often doesn't happen.
Okay, so the other thing is we did actually do one play date with them when we first got to know them. And I think this is true.
Well, I've done another play date with them actually at the park.
Yes. Yeah. But I was thinking like all together with,
the two dads.
The two dads were there as well. And I think this is the same in a lot of the play dates I've been to with you, that often the challenge of a play date is that you still have a kid with you.
Yeah.
So, and it might feel like, oh, well, there's another child here now. Surely they'll go off and play by themselves. Yeah. That doesn't really happen.
No.
I mean, in the earlier days when Lily was younger, we'd often go around to people's houses, and so they could just sit and play on the floor.
That was a bit easier.
These days we tend to go out somewhere to like a park or to a soft play.
Just to get some energy released.
But in those settings, in all the settings, you're still kind of needed as a parent to look after them. And so either it means if you go by yourself, you're kind of both occupied with the kids, or, if they're running off to different things in the park, you're then separated. Or if we all go as a family unit, which is often quite hard to arrange because it means we all have to be off work, or have to find a free weekend or whatever. But then I often find it's us, like two dads that have run off to look after the kids, and so you and the other mum get to sit and have a nice little chat. And I come home and think, I haven't actually spoken to anyone at all because I've been
running around after the kid.
And like, I don't mind, because if one of us is going to talk to someone, it might as well be you.
Act like this is just service, but I think half the reason he runs off to look after Lily is I don't want to be left to talk.
I don't have to talk. Yeah. I wouldn't mind so much. Bizarrely, I do tend to, I think, get on better at chatting with other mums.
You do,
Maybe because they're then like you in the relationship, and they can chat to me, and I can actually engage with the conversation.
I think that's true, because I remember, so our local church runs like a dad's club very sporadically at the minute. Yeah. But I remember the one time I came out to help, literally none of the dads talked to each other, but all of them talked to me. And I remember sitting there like, so I was trying to almost make them talk to each other, being like, oh, so your kid's this age, and how old's your kid like? I found it so funny that they were all perfectly happy to make conversation with me, but they really struggled to make conversation with each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that because
I don't know what's wrong with us.
Yeah, what's wrong
I don't know. I
don't know. I was like, oh, do I seem like quite approachable?
Yeah.
Or is it because I'm already engaged and I'll ask questions that they feel like then they can answer?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it did amuse me, because I wanted to be like, you should really be talking to each other and talking about like different experiences of fatherhood, but you're all sitting and talking to me, which isn't really how this is meant to go.
And at the same time, I think a lot of us men, we are kind of quite lonely, and a lot of us don't have like close friendships.
I think it's true.
And we kind of really need that. We're not great at doing it. We're not great at talking, are we?
You know what also men aren't great at? Once again, I'm so sorry it's a stereotype, but it's true. Arranging stuff.
Yeah.
So like, if there's any social, basically meeting, it will go through both mums.
Yeah.
The dads will not be involved at all.
And I mean, I'm quite an involved dad. We've often mentioned before, we try and split things 50-50. I try and defend myself as much as possible as being quite a good husband, but this is an example where I do fall into the very stereotypical man, right? And I'm sorry, like, if you don't fall into that mold, because not everyone does, and we can't make assumptions about everyone, but it does tend to be the trend that holds true mostly.
I would say most of the mums I meet, we are all social instigators. But
it does bring up an interesting challenge for both of us, really, because a lot of that conversation in groups, so you got a group of mums or a group of dads and you're trying to make friends, like often the conversation, if it's not about your child and how your parenting's going, it falls to like the mums having a moan about their husbands.
Yeah, true.
And stuff like that, which can be tricky to navigate because I am very involved.
Yeah. And often I feel like saying to a lot of mums, like, well, why are you letting them not do that? Not that I'm saying like I tell Elliot what to do, but I'm saying a lot of them go, oh, well, I'm with the kids all day, and then I get home and I have to cook, and then I have to clean. And I often think, but why haven't you said to your husband, that's not on? Like,
yeah,
I think it's hard because I think some people, you kind of, before kids, that was the way the relationship worked.
Possibly.
And then when they had kids, just nobody's ever had the conversation that should change.
Or maternity leave. And like, if the mum has a bit more time and has done some, more of the household tasks.
Yeah.
and then again you have to recalibrate once you're both
you get
back
to
at
work. Yeah.
But yeah, like in our house, it's less so that you will like tell me. It's more that just stuff won't happen.
Oh yeah,
like,
I just wouldn't do it.
You know, like washing. You know, we just wouldn't have any clean clothes if I
No,
didn't do the washing.
it's
Like, it's
true.
not that Emma would go, "You need to do the washing now." It's
Yeah,
just
like, well,
I'll
that's
get
not
to a
gonna
point where I'm
happen.
like, "Well, there's no clean clothes in the house. Emma's not going to do it. I better put some washing on and sort it out."
True. Yeah. Like she's not going to do that. Yeah. But we've gone off the parent cop tip from making friends, really.
Yes, but it's like it's the conversations you have, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose because we have less of that relatable experience.
But I do sometimes think that's because we are slightly younger in our friendship groups.
Oh, maybe.
So I wonder if there was other people our age, maybe it would be more normal for 50-50. Because I know, like, we're quite privileged, both work from home, so it's easier to 50-50. But I do think younger people have more of an idea of the man has to be very active participant. I know, because I know they say millennial fathers are much more active than their previous.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same for, like, younger millennials. They're probably more active still.
Yeah. I would talk about the challenges of topics we talk about with dads, but I don't really talk to dads, so I can't really tell you.
He's like, I don't know.
I think the trouble is, you know, conversation often turns to things like sport or I don't know what stuff men talk about, and I'm not a very masculine man.
No, my dad used to struggle with this.
I'm not into sport.
Because I remember Mum used to do that thing where you have like a play date and then the men end up sitting in the kitchen.
Oh yeah,
by themselves.
Yeah.
And Dad said, like, because obviously he was a farmer, he had no not that farmers don't, but his life was farming.
Yeah.
He had no interest in football.
Yeah.
He didn't really like drinking.
Yeah.
And he used to be like, once those conversations came up, he was like, I've nothing to contribute.
Yeah.
I can't even say who's playing.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's in the England team. Like, I have can't even talk about going to the pub. I don't go to the pub.
Yeah.
I don't drink. I don't have any of those cultural things these other people have.
It's kind of understandable, isn't it? You know, his work was his life. It's a very intensive kind of thing. And of course that meant a lot of his friends were farmers.
Yeah, but it also meant they're so busy. Like, they only see each other once. Like, the mart. That's why the mart's the main social event.
Yeah. It's quite similar to parenting, isn't it?
Quite similar to parenting,
There you go.
But I used to remember afterwards, I'd be like, oh, did your eyes chat? And Dad was like, well, no.
Yeah.
Like, what was I going to talk about?
This is why I get on quite well with your dad, though, because we can sit and chat just about mundane things, and like neither of us are that bothered about typical,
and like Dad's really good at talking about, not in like a bad way, but like politics or like other interesting conversations.
Current affairs, what's going on in the world.
It's just,
we love chatting about
that. Never came up amongst the other people, so he'd be kind of sat there like, well, this is just a bit boring.
And I really try, because I often worry, I'm quite involved and I work for the church, and I don't want that to be my whole life, and that I have no interests outside of that, because then how do you relate to people? But
I think it's true, having, which I know is hard, I know people are going to go, well, how am I going to do that? Having hobbies for yourself does help make other friendships. So like, some of the only friendships I've had outside of parents is when I went to my fitness class. And once again, most of them are parents, but some of them weren't. Like, and that's how you meet like a different group of people almost. And it's quite refreshing.
My problem is that most of my interests, and it's true, I've not kept a lot of them up. I used to be very into photography, and I do a lot less of that now because of time and things. But so many of my hobbies
are like one people
they're typical man hobbies, where they're ones you do alone. You don't do in groups. You don't need to talk to people about it. You don't need, I'm quite into a lot of technology stuff that you kind of do by yourself, or just,
it's true.
Or a lot of other geeky men and dads who would also be into those things. None of us are very good at socializing or conversing.
That's true. It's a good point. I was going to say, because you do have hobbies, but A, you don't do them often, but B, they're not ones where you'd meet people particularly.
Or I'm into things that I think typically I can chat better to with like women. So like, I love Disney films, and I love chatting about all sorts of things like that. And
that's true.
Don't know what else am I into. This is probably the problem, isn't it? But, at university, I eventually got into doing some ballroom dancing.
You did?
So like,
We would say Elliot's a very good ballroom dancer. I am not so good.
Yeah.
I got better because I did lessons with you, but I would say you were more of the natural dancer.
I don't think natural and dancer are ever two words that should go together describing me, but at least with ballroom dancing there's like steps and stuff, and you could learn the steps, and I could do that.
That's probably what I struggle with.
I don't have any
really.
natural rhythm or anything.
Yes, true.
But again, not a typical hobby that like men really have, or I don't know. Like I enjoy trying new things. I think this is my problem. I'm not really into anything in great depth, but I love to like explore new hobbies and like try stuff out.
Yeah. What I really want to try out, this is a complete tangent, is axe throwing.
Ooh. I feel like, you'd be into that and I would hate it.
I've seen people...
It sounds fun, but I'd enjoy being there watching you doing it and like taking a video of you doing it.
Yes, that's true. Elliot would be like, well, I don't want to throw an axe. Because I've seen people do it on like couples night in Leeds with like axe throwing.
Yeah.
Why does I keep being like, that'd be fun?
I mean, how does can we take another couple with us? Like we're trying to make friends. This is the point.
No, that's what I was thinking. It could be a social event.
Oh, okay.
But if you don't like axe throwing, it might not work.
It's reminding me though. Here's the other problem. Challenge is, I feel like a lot of our socializing before used to be evenings.
Yes.
So like going out to the pub with friends. You know, you do stuff on an evening. I don't know. You'd go to the cinema. You know, meet up and go out and do something. Go bowling. I don't know. Whatever you do, stuff you do. But these days,
or even go out for a meal with other people.
Oh yeah, that's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
We like how would we do it? I suppose we'd have to get a babysitter.
Or a grandparent to come over.
Yeah, but even that's kind of a challenge. And until they're a bit older, it's not really feasible, especially when you got really little ones.
Well, this is the problem. I think Lily's a good age now. We know she can stay over at like my sister's.
Yeah.
And she stayed over at the grandparents before, and she's been fine. So like, I mean, it's rarely, but it's happened and she's been fine. So it gives me quite a lot of confidence with her. She'll be okay. But obviously we're going to be starting again. And it's taken us how many years for us to be confident that Lily's okay? 3 years to say Lily's confident to stay by herself somewhere. The others?
I think part of that problem is though, we've moved around, and so we don't live where we used to live.
No.
And, like we can make new friends here, but all our other friends are spread all the way across the UK in all sorts of places. And so it means we all have to travel to go see each other.
And then you're like, well, might as well make a weekend of it.
Yeah,
because we're all traveling.
It's an added complication and a difficulty and a challenge. And I don't know. I think most people kind of move about these days, but if you are still based in the same place you grew up, maybe it's a bit easier because you know people. You still have your friends there from before. I don't know. Whereas now we have to make new friends, and we're thinking, we will likely move again. Yeah. And then it will be, how do we keep up friendships from here, and then how do we make new friends? And I think that moving around business is something we've not really factored into this.
No, right, well,
it's been a big old moan this episode.
I don't know if it's given any good advice.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are your top tips, Emma? You're the expert. I shouldn't give tips. Really. I just do the opposite of what I do. But what do you reckon? What's your top tips?
One, but it's a hard one, is don't be scared of basically making a fool of yourself and asking a stupid question.
Yeah. This is one I need to take to heart. When you're in the park and there's another dad there, I just need to be brave and go up and just try and start a conversation.
Because honestly, you can say anything especially because kids do funny things all the time.
Yeah.
You can be like, oh, what's she like? And we live in the north. People are friendly. My second thing would be find common ground. It's quite easy. Often you see, for me, I already know they have a child. I can often go, oh, so what nursery do they go to? We go to this nursery. We found it really good. You can end up having quite a lot of easy conversations that you don't have to think too much about. I think my third thing would just be, most of us are actually really dying to make friends and have conversations. So it's very rarely, I know some people have had bad experiences, but it's been so rare that anyone hasn't been really nice and talked back to me or hasn't really got into a conversation afterwards. So I think you have to remember most people are feeling how you feel. So if you feel oh, I'm kind of nervous, and like, I really want to make friends. I'm like, they probably do too.
Yeah.
Like, especially like baby classes, because most people are new parents.
Yeah.
It's a big experience.
Yeah.
I think all that stuff really helps. And don't feel guilty like me, like I feel guilty, that you don't keep up with all these people, because I'm sure they're feeling the same way, because they also have very busy lives.
Yeah. Great. Love that. I've got 2 tips.
Oh.
One is utilise online, because it is tricky finding time to meet up in person. So the more we can do to kind of get to know people, on Messenger, on Instagram, or, however you do it. My second top tip is find yourself an Emma who will make friends for you. So, chatty co-host, I need to wrap this up and stop you from nattering on.
Yeah.
How would you rate this topic? I'm bringing back this little segment. We've not had it for a few episodes.
About how we've covered it.
It's not our discussion of it. It's the topic.
I'd say our discussion's been all over the place.
As it always is. What else can you expect?
I would say.
I haven't given you categories yet.
I
haven't thought of the categories yet.
Right,
so this might be, it's on the fly. Here we go. So the bottom category, awkward dad. The next category is social anxiety. The next category is chatty mum. And the next category is I don't know, something good.
Okay, something good. I do quite well at the minute, but I think once we have the new baby, it's going to go down about how sociable I am. I think I'm not going to be like I still talk. I'm not going to be like a dad, because even in hospital, I chat away to the other people with me. Yeah. What was the middle one?
I don't know. I can't remember.
So I feel like there's in between anxiety and chatty mum, there'll be like a little thing, and that's where I'm going to be at.
Cool. Good rating. Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, but that's,
It confuses me so much when you bring it up, because I'm always like, I don't know what this means.
That's what you expect from a segment that I've made up entirely.
It's
that
true.
Doesn't serve any purpose whatsoever.
No.
Right. So messages from listeners. One of the days I shared a thing on Instagram stories about my face covered in stickers that I'd forgotten about that Lily had put on there. And we had a few replies to that saying that's a very common thing in their house as well, getting covered in stickers. And then one where I was asking whether people, what tantrums and meltdowns their toddlers or, and children had recently. We shared a parenting achievement at the beginning of this episode on exactly that topic. One of the replies into that was about being dropped off at nursery, and you have a meltdown about being at the drop-off. I think that's a very relatable experience. That's just a few for this week.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed our chit-chatting. Basically just saying how difficult it is to make friends, unless you're mildly sociable.
Yep. Thank you for joining us in the treehouse hideaway today, escaping from the world.
Like a tree
You can
house
climb back down the tree now, get back to your life.
Yeah, don't push anyone off the tree, though. That's dangerous.
Why would you suggest that? That's such a weird thing to do. But it's closed now. It's gone. This is the end. This is good. Goodbye. This has been Don't Wake the Baby.
Don't wake the baby. Shh.
God bless. Sleep well.
Good night.
Goodbye.